It was time to hit the road.
All right, welcome to the 162 experience. I'm awake, I'm alive, I'm alert, and I feel great. And today it's not really a studio, we're outside, but I've got Kelsey, and I'm going to pronounce her name correctly because everybody deserves to have their beautiful name pronounced correctly. Kelsey Aida Roldays.
There you go.
How are you?
Good. How are
Cool.
you?
Thank you. I'm great. This is a book that Kelsey has written. It's about affirmations, and affirmations are something that really, Kelsey, helped me transform my life when I was many moons ago, when I was in my early 20s, just getting started in life and in business. And so thank you for coming on the program. And why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself to kick off?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Well, what do you want to know? There's lots to know.
Sure.
If you want to know about my daily life, I guess, I have lots of different jobs. I call it my portfolio lifestyle. So I mainly do hair and sometimes makeup, but I'm also a dancer and a yoga instructor, and I just wrote this book, and I have an inspirational blog, KelseyAida.com, and I do a little bit of everything.
Awesome. And I read right at the beginning of your book, you talk about when you started your blog, you were 22.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? And a lot of 22-year-olds have limiting, like we all do, whether you're 32 or 52 or 102, we have limiting self-beliefs. How did you first, either convince yourself or affirm to yourself that you were enough to go out there and share your ideas with the world?
Yeah, I was just thinking about other people who had already done it, and I was thinking, well, if they've done it, I'm sure I can do it. Like, I love this quote by Marie Forleo, and she says that everything is figure-outable. So I'm sure I can find a way to make it work. And I know that I'm maybe a couple steps ahead of some other people. Doesn't matter if they're older or younger than me, though, in my development from just my experiences and everything I've learned and read. And so that's all it takes to help someone. You don't have to know everything in the world, but if you know something that they don't, then that's helpful.
Sure. And what's the end game? Why would somebody do an affirmation? What's the objective in the long term?
Well, the objective, I think, for anything in life is to feel good. Because the only reason we ever want anything, whether it's the house or the money or the wife or the car, is ultimately because you think it's going to make you feel a certain way. When you really are fooling yourself that you think you want this thing, but what you want is the feeling that you think it's going to give you. So I would say everything is just so you can feel good. Yeah,
that's great. We were talking before the show, and I got to see Tony Robbins for the first time this weekend, and I know he's somebody that you've studied with as well, and that's what he talks about. When he starts asking people, what do you want? What do you want? I want money, and I want this. Well, why do you want it?
Why?
And
Yeah.
the bottom is it's the feeling that you get. And isn't it true that you can get that feeling before you get the stuff?
Yes.
And then you can actually attract and get that stuff.
Yes.
And so that's pretty awesome.
I like to think of it as getting the feeling first, and then the stuff just comes as like a byproduct. It's just like the happy cherry on the top. You don't want to focus your whole life on getting the stuff. You want to focus your life on feeling good, and then the stuff naturally will come without you having to work so hard at it.
And from we had never met before. You're one of the few. This is our 29th show, and I was trying to think. I think only one other person that was a guest on the show I had never actually met. But I felt like as soon as I saw you, like there was just a connection, a bond. Like you're the real deal. You're a positive person.
Thank you.
You're not somebody that kicks the cat and then comes on here and puts your headset on and talks about being positive. I mean, you're a natural. I don't know if it's naturally positive person. Would you say that, or you've created this?
It's both,
Yeah.
I would say, because I've always been like a bubbly, optimistic person. But I definitely work at it to maintain like my highest feeling of good, because I can easily slip down and go to like dark places. So I try to have like daily rituals and just good habits that keep my mind focusing positively all the time.
Yeah, well, as long as we're on that, let's stay on that. I'm going in a lot of different directions
Yeah,
today.
that's fine. Go for it.
And I'm really excited. I say this almost every show I do because it's always true. But for me, this might be the favorite show that we've done at all 29.
Yay.
And we've had Major League Baseball players. I'm a big baseball fan. We've had football players. We've had comedians. We've had people from all walks of life. But today, because I know I know from the depths of my soul that your information and people applying it can absolutely positively change their life. And that's what my goal is to help people, change their life and to live their dreams.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some of those daily rituals that you practice.
Well, I'll admit perfectly honestly that I am not a good routine girl. Like, my life is so crazy because I cannot do the same thing every single day. So like in a perfect world, this is what I would do every single morning without fail, but I get to it most times. So what I like to do is when I wake up, I have a gratitude journal that I write in, and I'll just write for a few minutes until I feel like I'm like forcing it at a certain point. So I'll write all the things I'm thankful for, and every day I try to pick new and different things, so I'm not just writing about the same like 3 people every day or whatever it is. And it can even be something stupid, like so many times I'll write about my bed. Like, I love my bed. It's big and white and has this huge headboard, and I'm just like the queen of my room. Like, it's the most amazing thing. And so I'll start with my gratitude journal. I'll write really meaningful things or maybe silly things, but just things to get me thinking positive. And the best thing about that is that when I wake up, before I even open my eyes, I'm like brainstorming what I can put in my journal, and that just sets the mood off right away. And then I'll usually try to read a little bit of A Course in Miracles or some sort of inspirational or spiritual text. And then if I have time, or usually I'll try and make time, is the more important thing, is to meditate for at least 5 minutes. Maybe 10 minutes.
And do you do this while you're still in bed, or do you get out? Are you a coffee drinker? What do you do?
I don't drink coffee, but I'm always starving when I get up. Yep. So usually like the order of operations is gratitude journal, eat, come back to bed, and then do the other stuff.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. And what other stuff? We talked about, and if it's okay, I'll just run by the things. And if you want to comment on any of this, we've talked about this on the show before, but I've sort of got my daily rituals, and we talked about even doing something together in a workshop format where we would love to have you come in and do the affirmation section. But I try to do 6 things every day. And like you said, my life is a little crazy too if I'm traveling, if I'm doing different things. So I don't necessarily do this every day, but for about 1.5 years, I did this every single morning. I write down 10 or 15 goals. I write down 3 to 5 things that I'm grateful for. And I think that's one of the most being grateful is one of the most powerful tools in the world, and makes you feel good. And I think the way that you do it, by like you've got your mind program where the minute you wake up, you're thinking, what am I grateful for? So you can do this exercise, which is great. Then I like to write down 3 to 5 things that I've actually progressed in. You know, one of the things Tony Robbins talked about this last weekend is what happiness is for most people is progression.
Yeah.
You know, Earl Nightingale once said that, you know, success is the progressive realization to a worthy ideal, as long as we're moving in the right direction.
Exactly.
And then affirmations is the 4th thing. And I've learned so much after reading your book over the last couple of days that just the way that I say the affirmations, maybe talk a little bit about that, and I'll get back to these 6 things in a second. But it's not so much the words you say in your book, but it's the feelings that you experience as you're reading these affirmations.
Yeah, so I like to say, and I explain it in the book, that an affirmation is only as successful as how good it makes you feel. So you can say, I'm rich, I'm wealthy beyond belief all day long, but if it doesn't make you feel good, it's not helping you in any way, because the goal is to feel better, to raise your vibration, to elevate your mood so that you can easily attract those things in your life. And I shouldn't even say that's the goal, because the goal is feeling good. The attracting things is just an awesome side effect, but really it's just all about feeling what you're saying. It's not necessarily about the words, because words mean different things to everyone too. So it's like, if I have one affirmation that feels really good to me, it might not feel so good to Susie or whoever, you know? So it's all about, when you say it, really standing behind what you say and feeling good about it. And I would define a successful affirmation as something that either A, brings you relief, so maybe you don't have to go from 0 to 100 in 5 seconds, but if it makes you feel slightly better, that's a win. And if it makes you feel really good, that's another win.
Now, you talk a lot in your book about the word relief. Explain to your readers and to your and to me and our listeners today what you mean by that.
Okay, so to me, I feel like everybody naturally is a good person who feels good. But a lot of times it just gets covered up with so much stuff and stress and fear and anxiety, and relief is just when you can take off one of those layers and feel a little bit lighter. Relief is the fastest way to feel easy, because it's not like you're trying to do things to feel good. It's more like you're undoing things to feel good, to uncover the good that you already have. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it totally does. I appreciate that. And then just to finish off this topic, the 5th thing that I do every day is to listen to some sort of a inspirational or motivational audio tape. Do you do that on a regular basis?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Who are some of your favorites?
My favorite, like pretty much my favorite of all time, or at least right now, is Abraham Hicks, who, this is gonna sound crazy, but basically her name is Esther Hicks, but she channels not these spirits, but like energies, I guess. She just like vibrates so high at this certain frequency that she can tune into like non-physical energy and basically like bring messages to us from non-physical. So Abraham is like the entity that she teaches their teachings, and it's all about manifesting and feeling good and finding relief, and a lot of the inspiration in the book comes from Abraham. So that's like definitely one of my favorite teachers right now. But I also love Tony Robbins, as I mentioned in the book a couple times, and Gabrielle Bernstein. I really like her. A lot of the younger, like, spiritual thought leaders. Preston Smiles, I really love him. I like to listen to lots of different things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Esther, I think I've seen Esther live before. It was a few. It might have been 20 years ago.
She's been doing it for a long time, so probably.
Yeah, but like she's out there. Like, you got to be ready for her.
Yeah,
you
know? Have to be ready. A lot of people, because it's like so out there, if you're not open-minded, you won't be receptive to the message that she's giving, which is like more important than how it's coming. But
Sure.
I just love, like, when I listen to Abraham, I'm like, yes, yes, yes. Like, I resonate with like everything that they say.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And then the sixth thing is reading, 10 pages of a good book. But it's like, like you talk about in Actually I Can. And I love the title. How'd you come up with the title?
Oh, thank you. Well, it's a little bit of a story because, well, there's this little picture on social media going around that says "Actually I Can" with just a period. It's like actually, I can. And when I saw that, I was like, yes. And that was part of my inspiration. Like how you said, how did I get over those fears in the beginning? I was just like, well, actually, I can. And in the book, I write a story about how I use that affirmation in a bunch of different ways. But then I was like, oh, I really want to name my book that. And I Googled it, and it was already a book. I was like, damn it. And I think it was about positive affirmations or something like that. So I was like, well, how can I make it different? So I was thinking, well, I do love hashtags. And if you read my blog, I'm like hashtag obsessed. I'll just make my commentary into a hashtag like all day long. So I was like, that's perfect, because then it can also become sort of like an online movement. So not only is it a hashtag and an affirmation, but it's like usable. When people write about the book, it's hashtag Actually I Can, and then it will all be like collected in a space, and it can become more of a thing. Like
Actually I Can.
thing.
I love that. And can you think of a time in your life where maybe somebody didn't believe? Like, can you bring it back to where someone didn't believe in you, or there was something that originally you thought there's no way I could do that, and then you just started to say to yourself, actually I can. Actually I can.
Yeah, I would say most of my friends and family believe in me, but I'm the one who's the hardest on myself. So, of course, I guess it was most important, like, when I was going through depression, which I'm sure we'll talk about later, but I just didn't think that I could get out of it, because when you're in it, it feels so permanent. Yeah. But I was thinking to myself, like, I can do this. I've done other things before. You just have to reassure yourself that you got this. Like, you have to talk to yourself like a little kid. Like, you're not going to be like, oh, stupid, you didn't walk good on the first time. Like, you're never going to walk. Like, obviously not. They're just learning. So you have to be gentle with yourself. And I think that's the most important thing. So actually I can is just something I use in my daily life. Like, if I don't know if I can make the light, I'm like, actually I can. I'm going to make it. So whatever it is, even stupid, silly things or more profound things like getting over depression, you just reassure yourself, and then you believe it soon enough.
Sure. And I think we're both similar in the way that that we do have dark sides, that we we go into this space where you don't want to hear any of this stuff.
Yeah.
And so tell us about your time that you were that you went through depression. Did the onset come from a particular situation or a relationship? And then maybe just talk about that time of your life.
Okay, yeah. So I want to touch on what you said about going to dark places, and then I'll get into the whole depression thing. I feel like in hindsight, you can only shine as bright, like as much darkness that you felt. So I feel like there's a polarity and a balance there. So if I had never gone through this depression, I would probably be like every other 22-year-old and just be like bubbly and fun and partying, and I wouldn't have all this wisdom and life experience, and I wouldn't be so into self-improvement and spirituality, because I just would have never gone that deep on this level, dark wise, to go so high on this level. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like a pendulum.
So I feel like I feel like it's a blessing in disguise, because when it's happening, obviously it sucks, but once you get on the other side, it balances.
Yeah.
So you can go so much higher, and you live life on such a grander scale. Like, a lot of people are just stuck from here to here because maybe nothing bad ever happens to them, or they're just in their bubble, and it's not their fault. Everyone's life is different, everyone's path is different. But for some people to go so far down, it's so that they can go so far up too.
Yeah.
So.
And probably as a coach and a mentor to other people, unless you've really experienced people that have gone through depression, or people that don't believe in themselves, or the negative self-talk, or the tapes, as Dr. Phil talks about, running in our head, can you really give advice with integrity and really look someone in the eye and know what they're going through.
Yeah, I mean, you can just like know things that you've learned and be like, I heard this is good. I heard it works, but you can't really know with certainty how to help them because you've never been there. That's really
Jim
true.
Rohn talks about that formal education will make you a living. But self-education will make you a fortune. And a fortune not just financially, but rich in all different areas of your life.
Yeah.
So have you done formal training like psychological work? I don't mean like with a therapist.
Yeah.
But I mean studying the...
Formal? No. I
Yeah,
just
'cause
have
you're very
done
wise.
all self-study, and I love to read. Basically, when people ask me why I'm so wise, I just like point to all these books that I've read. But it's also life experience. Like
Sure.
at a young age, I got thrown into the whole depression thing. So I guess I'll go into that since that was
Sure.
your original question. It started because I was taking this medicine, and I feel like it just rubbed my brain the wrong way, and my whole body too. It was hormonal, and so at first I was just it was like a slippery slope down, but it happened so gradual that I didn't realize I was depressed until I was like depressed, like really bad. So at first I was just kind of angry and like irritable and mean, which I'm normally not. I'm like a nice, happy person. And so that was like the first little red flag, I guess. And then it just got worse and worse. And then I started not to like anything that I used to love. Like dancing is my first love. And when I didn't even care for it anymore, that was definitely a major sign. I started pushing people away. I started kind of living in isolation. Like this was all in high school, so I would stay in the classroom during lunch because I didn't want to be like socializing. That's one of the big symptoms. I was just overall like you just feel so sad, but almost for no reason, and then you try and justify why you feel sad because you feel crazy. Like, why do I feel sad? I have no good reason to feel sad. Like, I have a nice life, I have everything that I need, but for some reason I'm just like dying on the inside. And this was for about 3 years, I would say. I struggled with it, and
and if it's okay, were you popular in high school, or did that help you?
yeah.
I mean, it seems like you
Yeah,
would
because
be.
I'm like a people person. I
Yeah.
like to be around people naturally, and I was on the dance team, and yeah, I would say I hung out with a lot of popular, bubbly people, and a lot of people knew me because we performed at all the games and everything, and I had like red in my hair, so they would be like, oh, it's a girl with red hair, and whatever. And I looked exactly like this one teacher at school, so I was like famous because they'd be like, oh my gosh, do you know that you look like Miss Farrah? Like every single day they thought that we were related or something. But yeah, so for 3 years that was going on, and there were some lighter moments and some heavier moments, but they diagnosed me with Dysthymia Depression, which is like a functional depression. So you're depressed, but you can still maybe hold a job or go to school. Like you can still have a life, but barely. Like barely. All I wanted to do was sleep because that was the only way to really find relief. So I was definitely sleeping a lot. I didn't really want to go out of bed in the morning. I mean, when you're depressed, this is going to sound depressing, obviously, because it's about depression, but you just want to die. Like, you feel like that's the only way out because it feels like it's going to be forever.
And did your family and folks that care about you, did they think that, hey, she's a teenager, she's just going through a stage? I mean, what were people, you said people were trying to reach out to you and you were shunning them away.
I think they did think that part of it was the whole teenage thing, which maybe it was. I mean, teenage years are hard.
And hormones are flying,
yeah,
right? I mean,
and hormones are crazy, and that doesn't help. And when you're a woman, I feel like, it's like 10 times worse. But they knew that it was bad, but I don't think anybody knew how bad it was. But I was definitely seeing a psychologist.
Oh, you were, yeah.
Yeah, I was getting help. She was a family friend, so she couldn't prescribe me anything, but we would just talk, which would help. And my boyfriend, I went through 2 boyfriends during that 3-year span, and they were both really helpful and tried to be understanding. And all you can do when somebody is depressed is really just comfort them when they're having like episodes. Like sometimes I would just cry so hard, like if somebody just died, like it felt like I just watched somebody die, but nothing had happened, and I would just be bawling and bawling and bawling and so sad. But then once you get that out, you kind of find some relief, like how we were talking about before. So luckily, my boyfriend that I'm with now, actually, he was with me for a majority of it, and he's very good at soothing and calming. And I think it's best for people that have depression, if you know anyone that has it, you can't really say anything that will make them feel better because they won't believe you, because they feel so shitty. Like anything you say is just not valid to them. So all you can do is just validate their feelings and know that it's actually an illness. Because I dated this other guy, the second one, during that time period, and he just couldn't understand. He tried so hard, but he couldn't understand that there was something wrong with my brain. Like, he was like, Kelsey, you got this. Like, just snap out of it. Like, you're fine. Everything is fine. And he would just kind of like invalidate my feelings, which did not help. Like, that just made me feel even more crazy, even more worse. So how I got out of it, I guess is probably what everyone's wondering now, is I didn't want to take medicine because that was how I got into it in the first place. So I was like, hell no, I'm staying away from that stuff. Is scary. So I was, after having it for so long, I guess you just get sick and tired of being sick and tired. And you just one day say, okay, this is enough. Like, what can I do to find some relief and to feel better? And my therapist had recommended that I see this holistic doctor who could maybe prescribe me something that would help just take the edge off so I could heal on my own. Because I felt like it was lightening by that point naturally, with me not feeding into it and feeding into the negative thoughts and trying just to be calm. And so I went to see this guy who was going to prescribe me maybe something holistic. And it ended up that when I was talking to him, he was like, actually, Kels, you know what? You seem like a pretty strong woman. You seem like you're on the tail end of it. And not to be like offensive or anything, but you don't seem that depressed to me. And as soon as he said that, I was like, hey, I think you're right. I am a pretty strong woman. I think I am on the end of this, and I think I can get over it. And thank you for saying that, because that was like the push that I needed. Great. And then after that day, it was like the most like synchronistic, I don't know if that's a word, moment. And it was just meant to be. So after he said that, then it started lightening, and I would just, that's when I started diving into affirmations and self-help and positive thinking and spirituality and just everything I could get my hands on to feel good. And then a couple weeks later, sorry, story goes on. I met Kim, and she came into the hair salon, and I was doing her hair, and she was telling me about her gratitude journal, and I was like, oh, this sounds like
because I read in your book, so that was Kim in the book.
So that was Kim in the book.
Nice.
And so I was like, oh, she has a gratitude journal. That's a good idea. I'll do it. And so every morning I would write 3 things that I was thankful for in this little journal that I started. And after 3 weeks, I felt so good. And I don't know if it felt so good because of the contrast of feeling so bad so quickly before that, but I felt so good, like better than I'd ever felt even before I was depressed.
That's great.
Yeah,
That's
it was
great.
really cool.
And for those of you that have seen the show before, Kim is my business partner and just an amazing association, right? You become like the 5 people that you spend the most amount of time with. And we actually bought, do you remember how many, I know just yesterday we got, how many of these?
41?
42. 42,
something like that.
Which just happens to be the title of my second book, The Last 42.
There you go.
No coincidence is.
Nope.
And so not only did I want one of these, I wanted all of my top leaders in our organization with Legal Shield to be able to have these too. So thank you for, I understand you signed all the copies personally.
Yes, I did.
Thank you. So if you're watching the show, you might be the recipient if you're one of 42 lucky people. Thanks for sharing that experience. Do we feel like we need to get in a peak state after that?
Yeah,
okay,
I think so. That was pretty heavy.
A little bit. That was heavy. That was heavy.
I know. I feel like talking about it, the purpose is not for me to talk about it. It's to help you guys. So if anybody's going through that, know that because I went through it and survived, you can survive.
Okay, if you're ready to change your life, say aye.
Aye.
Yeah, I do that all the time now. I love it. Even when I'm by myself. So thank you so much for coming in. I think you've already been very insightful. Is that a word? Insightful.
Yeah.
And what I want to do, though, as a result of the show, is I want people, let's give people an assignment after watching the show.
Okay,
How many days in a row do you think somebody needs to read their affirmations to make a difference? Like, I know with my goal setting, I recommend 31 days.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing, like about a month. Because that's usually how long it takes for your brain to get in the habit of things and for things to really stick. So if you can do it for at least a month, start with that, and then you'll probably get addicted to it, and then you won't stop.
So let's do this. I'm going to walk through my affirmations that I read, and I'm going to do one at a time. And if you have any positive recommendations or negative recommendations to improve them, feel free to say it.
Okay.
And then we're going to walk through the different areas. We're actually going to read some out of your book.
Yeah.
I think what stops a lot of people, did for me for a while, is you just don't know what to write down.
Yeah, you don't even know where to start. So the thing with the book is, like, I created the whole book off a template, basically. And on my website, there's a little free worksheet that's attached to some of the articles, and it's called Affirmations for Anything. So what I did was I wrote, like, my favorite affirmation templates, and then it's like a fill in the blank for beginners. So if you don't know where to start, that's a good place to start.
Cool. Were we the largest purchaser with 42 books so far? Has anyone bought that many?
So far, yeah.
Yeah, number 1, baby.
Yep.
Let us know if anyone tries to up it. We'll up our order, okay? So I am powerful. Is that a good one?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I love how you said it too. You're like, I am powerful.
No, I do. And I don't know if you do this. I like to go outside because I feel like, I'm talking to the universe.
Yeah,
and
you're
if
like
I'm
sending it out there.
Yeah, like if I'm in a house and it's, then I feel like I'm not, okay. I am successful at everything that I do.
Okay, how do you feel when you say that? Do you feel like it's true or do you feel like you're lying like a little bit?
I actually do feel good about it.
Okay, good. Because to some people, I could see how that would be like maybe feel a little bit discord inside, like at everything. Like their ego's gonna be like, everything really?
Yeah.
But it's glad that you can stand
I have a
behind
healthy
that
ego.
one. Yeah, you do.
But what I love, though, is you talk about in your book, if you're not there yet, maybe say something like, I choose to be successful at everything that I do.
Exactly. So, for example, if you heard that affirmation, can you repeat it one more time?
Yeah, sure. I am successful at everything I do.
Okay, so if you can't say I'm successful at everything I do, what you do is you can say I'm successful at a lot of things I do. See how that softened it a little bit? So those little lies that are in the back of your head, they go away. Or you could say I choose from now on to be successful at everything I do. I love being successful at the things that I do well. So you can just change the wording and tweak it a little bit. In the book, I talk a lot about it, and I call it affirmation softening. So you're taking the idea, but you're just softening the wording so that you can actually resonate with it and stand behind your affirmation.
Because if you don't resonate with it, then it's almost like the opposite of the effect that you want because you don't believe it, right?
Yeah, it'll make you feel worse than when you started.
Okay, number 3. I am active, fit, healthy, and attractive.
Awesome.
Okay, great.
I like it.
I am divine. I love this. Is maybe my favorite one. I'm divinely guided in all that I do.
Isn't it such a nice feeling when you say that? You just are like, I don't have to stress.
Yeah, everything's working out. Yeah, the plan has already been written. I love it. I am wealthy, abundant, and prosperous.
Like it.
I am worthy of love and respect.
Yes, everybody is worthy for sure.
For sure. I am worthy of a great life.
Mm-hmm.
You liked this one earlier. I am funny and have great delivery and timing.
Yeah.
I'm a stand-up comic, so that helps.
I like
believe
that
me.
one.
I'm a giving person that loves to make a positive difference in the lives of others. That one always makes me feel maybe the best.
Yeah, giving is a really powerful thing. And I think when you embrace that, that's like part of your reason for being here. That's part of everyone's reason. You just feel good because that's part of your purpose.
Yeah, for sure.
I like
for
it.
sure. I'm a dreamer.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next one, I don't know what was going on, but I was like, maybe I need to bring it back a little bit because I said I'm laser focused and accomplish my goal. Maybe I should make that
like
all
totally
one.
Opposite
Yeah, I know.
In a way.
I know. Maybe I didn't believe that. That's why.
Yeah.
Maybe I choose to be a dreamer.
Well, it's funny because like I feel like at different times in your life, different affirmations will resonate. So maybe one day when you say I'm a dreamer, you're like, yeah, I'm a dreamer. But then the next day you're like, I'm laser focused on my goals. Like.
Yeah. I'm a writer and love engaging my audiences.
Nice.
And isn't it powerful to write a book where you can really it's such a personal relationship between you and the world. Like you're writing a book for people that you've never met before to improve their lives. Isn't that great?
Yeah, I really love it. Like I didn't even realize how much I liked writing until I started my blog, and I was like, whoa, this is so fun. And then when people would comment on it and like it and say like, oh, I had a similar experience, or oh, this one paragraph helped me so much, I'm just like, yes.
That's powerful. I did that one. I'm a compassionate friend.
Nice.
I am excited about life and get the most out of every day.
Yeah.
I am who I am, and I love it. I love and accept myself unconditionally now and forever.
Oh, awesome.
That's
Those
great.
are really good. I don't have a lot of notes for you because, first of all, your delivery is impeccable, like your affirmation said. Even though it wasn't comedy, it was good. And how you wrote them all in the present tense is really powerful, too.
Let's talk about that. Why is it important to write them in the present tense?
Because I think a lot of people do it like this. Maybe they want to be skinny, for example, and they say, I will be skinny in 2017. Well, guess what? When you put it out there in the future, it's just going to get stuck out there and be there forever. And you're always going to be like, I will be skinny tomorrow. I will be skinny one day. I will be skinny. But if you affirm, I am, then it brings it to the present moment.
And if you're not there, go with I choose to be.
And if you're not there and that doesn't feel good, then I choose to be, I am working towards, I am currently working towards, that's a good one. I accept this now. Like there's lots of different ways to do it. And in the book, I talk about all the different ways to soften.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe we'll talk about, I want to go to remember what chapter the love is?
Oh, I know. There's no page numbers. Let me find it.
Okay, cool.
I was like, page numbers.
Well, on the ebook there was, because I read it on the ebook.
Oh, yeah, there was on the ebook.
And
the ones about love, like relationships, or the ones about self-love, or which ones are you thinking?
Well, the affirmations that start in the love topic. So I'm not sure if it was.
I'll find it.
And then, is there a website or your blog that you'd like to tell us, and we'll put it on the podcast and promote it, and Robert will link it in. So maybe with like a template so people can get started, or?
Yes. There is a page on my blog. I'm not sure the exact URL. I can get it to you so you can put it in the show notes. But if you just go to kelseyaida.com, and then there's a button in the top right-hand corner that says free stuff or free resources or something like that. And then in there's a couple worksheets, and it's the worksheet that's called Affirmations for Anything. And you can just put your email, download it for free, and you can just get going with your affirmations. It has a bunch of good templates.
I love it. I love it. Do you find that people do like ignore the loved ones, or maybe people are just focused on their career or money? Did they leave stuff out?
I have a lot of people that write emails to me, and I ask them like what they want to manifest most, and a lot of people go with love or money.
Oh, yeah.
Those are like the two most popular ones.
Do you find that women go with love and guys go with money? Not necessarily.
Actually, no. No, I don't think so. Well, I think I have like a skewed like audience because a lot of it is female. So I can't really tell you like if there's a lot of guys who pick money and a lot of girls who pick love, but that makes sense because girls are really emotional about connecting and guys are all about like achieving. Not all, but partially.
Sure. Yeah, for sure.
So do you think it's this chapter, Love Yourself?
I do. And I could either read some of the affirmations or you could, but I would actually like to actually read some of the things or have you read them.
Yeah, I can read some of my favorite ones.
Yeah, let's do that.
So how the second part of the book works, let me explain a little bit about the book so it makes more sense. In the first half of the book, it's separated into two parts. It is everything you could ever need to know about affirmations and how to actually get them to work for you so they'll really change your life. And then the second half of the book has actual affirmations for all different areas of your life. So this chapter that I'm about to read you affirmations from is the Love Yourself chapter, which is all about self-love and self-acceptance. But then there's also a chapter about like show me the money, like finances.
Hashtag hell yeah.
Hashtag hell yeah. And there's a bunch of chapters on health and relationships. So it basically covers like every major aspect of the human experience in here. So this
who can ask
chapter
for more than that? I mean, that's everything.
Yeah. So it starts with self-love because that's like the most important thing I think before you can have everything else. And then in the chapters, it's like coded with these hashtags. So you use these affirmations under hashtag winning for when you're feeling really, really good. And then if you're not feeling really, really good, if you're still feeling good and you're more like in the excited realm, that would be hashtag hell yeah. And then if you go down from there, maybe you're feeling like, you're just like, not bored with life, but you're just sort of in the middle. You're not really feeling good or feeling bad. So that's hashtag And then the last two hashtags are hashtag grr. That's when you're like frustrated and annoyed and maybe feeling impatient. And hashtag sigh is when you just like hit rock bottom and you're just over it. And there's a couple affirmations in that section. So I'll read it from the beginning.
Sure.
So I love myself is obviously a really important affirmation. Can I cuss? Is that
please.
Okay.
Well, not please, but sure.
I don't give a fuck about what anybody thinks about me because that is part of their experience, not mine. I am unfuckwithable. That's one of my favorite ones.
Is that a word?
I mean, now
that's awesome.
And then in the hashtag hell yeah page, I care about feeling good. I am the creator of my own reality. The most important one I think in this chapter is I am enough. And I wrote a little excerpt about it here.
I love that. That was maybe one of my favorite things I read.
Yes.
Yeah.
It says, you are enough. You were created enough. You are more than enough. You have always been enough. You are so ridiculously enough. It's not even funny. You are enough to be, do, or have anything that you want. You are enough, period.
Yeah. And
this is actually something that I didn't think that I was struggling with, but I realized I was the other day because I was talking to my friend who happens to be a shaman. Go figure. And we were talking about how I have like this addiction to success and productivity. And the other day I was just sitting trying to watch a movie, enjoy my time, relax with my mom, hang out, and I couldn't help but think of like 1,000 better ways I could be spending my time. Like I was like, oh, I could be writing my blog, I could be improving this or doing that or writing another book or helping these people. But then when I was talking to him, I realized that it all came down to I don't fully love and accept myself unless I meet all these conditions of helping people and writing books and earning enough money and going to the gym a certain amount of times. And when I realized that, I was just like, phew. Like I always thought I was this self-loving person, which I feel like I am, but deep down I was having all of these symptoms come up from not truly accepting myself and not feeling like if I'm just sitting and existing, that is enough. Because it is. Like, truly, everyone is just enough from being born. If you're alive, you're enough. Like, you don't have to do anything else to prove that you are worthy of the love that you so freely give to others that you should be giving also to yourself.
Phew, powerful.
So that was just my little spiel on that.
That was great. That was awesome.
Oh, here we go. In hashtag F page, it says, I'll only live once, so I might as well be a badass. Hashtag YOLO.
I think that's one of Kim's affirmations. She read it on the call yesterday and had to apologize after for her language on one of our conference calls.
I mean, you might as well. And then under hashtag GER, when I need something to believe in, I start with myself. So if you're feeling frustrated or a little bit fed up or impatient, just start by believing in yourself and work from there. And then at the bottom, if you're feeling really shitty, these are some affirmations that can help take the edge off. I let go of the need to be perfect and embrace my individuality. So that's a really powerful one. And then I am enough is really good to just help you, like, just be. I'm enough. I don't have to do anything else to be enough. And then let's see what else. I let go of any negative thoughts about myself and focus on what I like about me. I'm willing to let go of the illusion that I am broken and recognize that I always have and always will be whole. Everyone is entitled to loving themselves, including me. So that's a really powerful affirmation that I put in almost every chapter. Everyone is entitled to this, including me. Because I feel like a lot of times you can be like, oh, well, yeah, Kelsey deserves to be loved, and Steve deserves to be loved, and Kim deserves to be loved, but not me. Like, for whatever reason, like, why? You're a human too. Everybody deserves those same basic rights.
Yeah, we had one of the speakers this weekend was talking about entitlement, and he said everybody talks about entitlement like it's such a bad word.
Yeah.
And it could be a great word.
Yeah, so true.
Yeah, that's good stuff. You want to do more there? You want to move on to Show Me the Money chapter? I like that one too.
Yeah, okay, I like that one too.
That was great.
Let me find it. Really
And again, the objective is we want you, after watching this program, to sit down, to spend some time, to start with a blank piece of paper. Kelsey's going to give some action steps here in just a minute on what to do first and how to complete that, and start doing it today.
Yeah.
Right? There is no tomorrow, Rocky.
Yeah, it's all about the now.
That's right.
Okay, so I'm going to read the little blurb in the beginning that kind of explains about the chapter, which is called Show Me the Money. Affirmations for Financial Freedom. Let's face it, we would all like to have more money, but what we're really craving is the feeling of abundance, never having to stress about or worry about finances, having the freedom to do what we want, when we want. Like all things in life, our thoughts and feelings about money are what create our real-life experience of it. To create more, we must adopt a mentality of abundance, not just in finances, but in all aspects of our lives. These affirmations were created just for that. Use them, feel them, embrace them, and the universe will have no choice but to show you the money.
That's awesome.
Hashtag winning. I am deserving of and thankful for all the abundance that comes my way. So I think one of the most important things that we should touch on about attracting money is that you have to feel grateful in order to attract more things to be grateful for. So if you're feeling really poor and you're always focusing on lack and what you don't have, you're never going to manifest money because the universe is just showing you what you're thinking about your life. So if you feel abundant, which making a gratitude journal really helps with, then you can naturally start to become more abundant in all aspects of your life, not just with finances.
You know, Kelsey, I have so many people in my own business that I'll say things to, like about something that's coming up, and the first thought that they have is, I can't afford that.
Yeah.
And so
it's such a lack mentality.
Yeah.
You have to train your brain. I think it takes a little while, but you have to get in the habit of being like, there's always more where that came from.
Yeah.
Like,
That's a great affirmation.
did you ever run out of money and then you were just never able to make money again? Like, no, there's lots of different ways to make money, especially now with online business, and like, there's just so many ways to make money. I hate it when people say that. It frustrates me. They're like, oh, I can't afford it. Or if I want to do something fun with my friends and they're like, oh, I don't have money. I'm like, can you just make the extra couple of dollars and then I'm sure you'll make it back. Like, let's be abundant here.
Yeah, and sometimes it could be lonely.
Yeah.
when the people around you are like that, because you go and do something amazing, but the people either they lack the time or they lack the money, they lack something.
Yeah, they lack the mindset. That's what it is.
Exactly.
But that's easy to change, so not a big deal. Hashtag hell yeah. I am good enough to achieve my dreams. I enjoy having more so I can give more. I think also when you're manifesting money or trying to attract more wealth into your life, you have to do it not from this selfish place of, oh, I can't wait to have all this money, but think of all the good that would come from you having more. Like, when you have more money, you have so much more to offer to charities or people or situations, or maybe it just helps you have a less stressful life. Like, think of it not from a selfish standpoint, but from how is it going to make the world, your world included, a better place.
Fantastic. That's strong.
Abundance is my birthright. This is a good one. Did you know that life is supposed to be abundant? Did you know that it's okay to want to have things that will make your life awesome? Because the more you have, the more you can give. Now the only question left is, do you feel that you are worthy? that stops a lot of people from manifesting things that they want because they don't feel like they deserve it.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the reasons I have that in one of mine. It's just I am worthy of love and respect. I am worthy of a great life.
I think
for sure.
When I teach a lot about manifesting and the law of attraction and like wanting all these things, I don't think it's a bad thing to want things. I think that the reason why we're here is to have a freaking badass life. Like, why would we be here just so we can be all like live small and be in fear and be stressed
Just
and not
exist.
have anything and to just exist and suffer? Like, we're not here to suffer, we're here to have a freaking awesome time. So as soon as you realize that life is about feeling good, you don't feel so guilty about wanting things. Like, you should never feel guilty about wanting something that's going to make your life better. As long as it's not hurting somebody else's life, there's no problem.
Yeah. What's your vision for yourself?
My vision for myself, well, I kind of want to be like the next Tony Robbins. I'm trying to get on Ellen. I haven't gotten too far into the future, but definitely I have 2 more books already like in my head, and I want to create some online courses and just help as many people as I can and spread light.
Do you speak in front of groups? Are you at that point of your career yet?
Not too much. I'm just kind of starting.
Yeah, because I think that for you, just being around you, I think that would be important because of your energy level. Like, books are great and blogs are great, but you can only get so much. Like, you're not feeling the feeling. Like, being around you inspires me even more than reading your book because it's like
thanks.
I mean it 100%. Same thing with Tony Robbins. You're like seeing him live and
well,
being there.
because like energy is so contagious, you know, and when you're around certain people without even consciously feeling like the thing, like how you're feeling, you're obviously sensitive and you can tell, but some
You
people,
think I'm sensitive?
Yeah, like you're energetically sensitive, like in a good way,
Okay.
not like you're gonna cry.
No,
like
it's
every
okay. I
sad
cry.
movie.
I saw you know Jack Reacher, the Jack Reacher movie?
No.
Oh, he's like it's like an action film.
Uh-huh.
And it was funny. And I have a daughter who's 3, and I don't get to see her as much as I want. She's on the East Coast.
Yeah.
But in the movie, with Jack Reacher, which is again like this, he's like this military badass, and it's discovered that he has a 16-year-old daughter that he know about. So literally during the movie, because of that, I connected with it. I'm crying the whole movie. So I'm with my Benito, who's a co-host with me, and we get out of the movie, and I'm like literally like. I'm like, wasn't that a tearjerker? He's like, what are you talking about? So I am sensitive, but thank you for noticing.
That's good. It's a good quality. I think people look at sensitive people as like a weakness, but it's really a strength. You know?
Sure.
Okay, let's get back to the money here. Okay. If you're kind of just like starting your whole journey of thinking positive, this is a good one. I am ready to start living an abundant life by first practicing an abundant mindset.
I love it. And you talk in your book about being willing, about how that's almost as important as anything.
Yeah, because it all starts with the willingness to change, the willingness to see things differently. In A Course in Miracles, the whole premise of the book is if you're willing, like to have miracles and to be a miracle worker, it will come. Just being willing is really the only thing you need to do, and that'll help change your perception.
Strong.
Hashtag GER. I realize that the more I appreciate, the more I will attract to be appreciative of. And hashtag sigh. I let go of my desperate need for money and instead give thanks for the things money can't buy. Because obviously it's not all about money at the end of the day.
Sure.
And money is usually just a byproduct of you being super happy and helping a lot of people. Like, think of all the richest people you know. How did they get so rich? Usually from solving a problem and helping the masses. So, what else? I was going to say something else. Everyone deserves to experience the freedom of wealth, including me. That's another one where everyone deserves, including me. I deserve to have all the good things that come my way. I'm ditching my lack mentality and adopting an abundance mindset.
Cool. So let's talk about how somebody gets started. Let's pretend that we're sitting with somebody. They've never done an affirmation, and in a few minutes, we want them to leave with written affirmations. Where do we start? How do we frame it?
First, I would ask them, how do they want to feel? What do they want? So maybe the easiest way to identify what you want is to look at the things that you don't like in your life and then flip them. So say if you're feeling really poor, then you would want to be rich. Or if you're feeling really fat, then maybe you'd want to be skinny. These are just like examples to get the point across. If you're feeling really shy, maybe you want to be more outgoing. So you look at your list of things that maybe aren't perfect or aren't working the way you want, and then you flip them into a positive.
Okay, so write down all those things.
Yeah, so I would write
Now, that
them
could be a little depressing for some people.
Yeah, but you don't want to linger there too long. You just want to look at it, touch on it so you can know, so you can get clear about what you want, and then flip it into what you actually want. So, for example, on the left side of the paper, you can write, Maybe that you're feeling a little bit poor.
Yeah, I'm tired of being
you're
broke.
lacking. Yeah, I'm tired of being broke. So then on the right side, you could change that into an affirmation and say, I'm ready to accept abundance now.
Love it.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's something that you could probably resonate with. Like, you're sick and tired. You're ready to start. So as soon as you're willing, like we said, that's when things start to change.
So I'll give you another one and then you fix it or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm really out of shape.
Okay, you can say, I'm working towards my best body. So you can still be out of shape and be working towards your best body. So I can see how that would be probably a good one for someone who's beginning. Or
I keep attracting assholes into my life.
that's a good one. Let me think. You could say, I love it when I attract loving and kind people into my life.
Love it.
Or you can think about how like attracts like in the law of attraction. So you can say, I am the person that I want to attract. And then become that person, and then they will start to come to you.
Sure. What else?
I have some examples in here.
Okay, good.
There's actually a page, let me find it, that kind of walks you through the process.
And again, give out your website one more time, if you don't mind.
KelseyAida.com. KelseyAida.com.
Fantastic.
And every week I write like an article, or sometimes I'll publish a video, and it's usually about manifesting and the law of attraction and feeling good and raising your vibration. Okay, here's the page.
Great.
Creating your own badass affirmations. Creating an affirmation is very simple. Basically, you just examine what's not working and then affirm how you would like it to be instead. For example, life is really hard for me becomes life flows easily for me. I suck at math becomes I am great at math. But if you're not already there, you could say I'm working at being great at math. I am not worthy of my dreams becomes I am worthy of my dreams. The timing of my life sucks becomes I trust in the divine timing of my life. And I hate myself for thinking that becomes I forgive myself for thinking that.
And is it true that people are really a collection of their thoughts and attitudes and behaviors over a long period of time? So people have affirmed where they are positively and negatively. Like we're doing affirmations all day long anyway. We're just trying to clean them up. Is that fair?
Yeah. In the book, I explain how you're always using affirmations. Like, for example, the I'm bad at math one. If you're taking a test and you're like, oh, I suck at math, that's an affirmation. You just affirm that. And unfortunately, that's gonna show up like in your reality if you keep thinking that. So since you're already doing affirmations all day long, you might as well clean them up like how you're saying and focus positively and know how to make them work for you instead of against you, which is what a lot of people do.
One that I hear a lot, and it always is one of my pet peeves, is people say, well, I'm just, they'll say it to me, I'm just not good with names. It's like, are you kidding me? I'm one of the most important people in the world and you can't remember my name? And so
it's not like you have a hard name.
I know, but it's like a slap in the face too. And then people are just reaffirming something that's not even true. Like,
yeah, and I think people get stuck in this reality trap. Like, I wrote a whole blog post on it once, and it's called like how being realistic is ruining your life. And these people just justify their life based on reality. So they're always observing. So if they knock something over, they'll be like, oh, I'm so clumsy.
Yeah.
But that's not the most successful way to live your life. The way to live your life is from the inside out. So to create what you want, and then it will show up for you. You just have to be trusting and willing and focus on what you want. Basically, you want to know the trick to life? The trick to getting everything you could ever want is just to figure out how to feel good as much as you can. Because when you feel good, you're going to attract more things that make you feel good. And that's the only thing you ever want at the end of the day anyway. The only reason you want something is because you think it's going to make you feel better. So why don't you just feel better first, and then it will naturally come.
Why do you want to be on the Ellen Show?
Because I love Ellen.
Why else?
I feel like we would be homies. Like, I already feel like she's my homie, except she doesn't know me, so I guess it's like creepy. But she's super into like self-improvement and empowering people, and she always ends her show with "Be kind," and I just love her, and I love her energy, and I feel like we would get along good.
Cool. So let's pretend that Ellen is watching our show. We got a lot of viewers, so it could be at least somebody named Ellen, maybe not the Ellen. But let's say she's watching our show.
Somebody named Ellen is watching.
And in just a few seconds, you're gonna talk right to Ellen, and you're gonna tell Ellen why she should have Kelsey on her show, and it's going to be one of the best shows she's ever had.
Okay. Hey, Ellen, it's Kelsey Aida. You should have me on your show because we could change a lot of lives together, and I think we have the same powerful message, and I know you love the youth, and I'm nice and young, fresh meat for you, and I wrote this awesome book called #ActuallyICan, and the more people I can get it out to, the more lives I can change, and I think you would be the person to help me do that.
Awesome. If you know Ellen, if you are Ellen, if you've ever met Ellen. If your name is even Helen. No, that's cool. That's good stuff. So let's go back, and we're good. We only have a couple minutes left. So let's go back. And so people have written the negative, and then they've changed it into the positive. Are there certain areas of life, like you say, hey, as we go through, make sure you include health. Make sure you include wealth. Make sure you include love. Make sure you include finances. Like as you're going through my list, are you doing a checklist to make sure that I include everything?
Yeah, I guess it depends, because for some people that could be overwhelming, like to try and tackle all the areas of their life at once. So if you feel like you would get overwhelmed easily, maybe just start with one. But I also do like the idea of being well-rounded, because when you're improving all different areas of your life, they're all going to flow over into each other. It's not like our lives are separate, right? Like everything is connected. Even though we think our health is different from our finances, a lot of the times whatever's causing both to be bad is the same. Maybe you just don't feel good.
One discipline affects another. That's what Jim wrote.
So they're all are connected, so it does make sense to do them all at the same time too.
That's so powerful. That's so powerful. Okay, so they've written down the negative, and then they've turned it into a positive. How often and when do you feel the most effective times that people read over these?
Okay, yes, good question. So the most effective time, like the most effective time is when you're feeling like at your peak state. Like, you know, when you just wake up on the right side of the bed and you're like, yeah, I got this. This is going to be the best day ever. Like that's when you want to do your affirmations right then, when you're super excited and feeling good. If you're not feeling good, maybe you need this book to help you, because it really specifically guides you through what moods match up well with what affirmations.
And you talk about that in your book. Like if you're feeling shitty, like not a good time to do affirmations.
Yeah, if you're feeling so shitty, that's not the ideal time. You should hold off. You should take a nap. You should take a shower. You should go for a run. Do that thing that helps diffuse your energy so you can feel a little bit better, and then maybe come back to some softer affirmations. Don't go straight for like the peak optimal affirmation, because you might feel a little bit of discord when you do that.
And then it's like you're almost associating that stuff with a negative feeling.
And
you know?
I feel like you're saying it's not okay to feel bad. Like that's not my message. I want everyone to feel good all the time, but obviously you're gonna have to feel bad to feel good. There's no such thing as feeling good without the comparison of feeling bad anyway. And like how I was saying, as far down as you go is like as far up as you can go.
Which is great, which should be relieving for people to hear.
Yeah, so it's not a bad thing to feel bad, but just don't stay there forever, because life is not supposed to be some miserable parade.
Cool. And we'd love you to go on the 162 experience and post your affirmations, or do a video of you posting your affirmations. What I'll do is I'll go on there later today and read mine out loud. And I feel like when I read mine out loud, especially in front of a group of people, that it's that much more powerful.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm like sharing with the universe.
Well, then you're like holding yourself accountable too when you share it with somebody else. Okay, if you're going to share your affirmations, a tip of warning or a good tip would be share it with those people who are really going to support you and be like, yeah, you go, you. But not those people that are going to like poop on your idea. Like, oh, you're not so fabulous. Like, you're so full of yourself. Or don't share it with those people.
Yeah, probably don't even hang out with those people.
Don't even be around those people. Those people are going to bring you down.
Yeah. And that's great. Anything else on the actual exercise and helping people do that before we wrap it up?
Like I said in the beginning, the affirmation is only as successful as how good it makes you feel. So play with the wording. If you write something and you're like, I like that in a perfect world, but like right now I don't feel good when I say that, just change it a little bit until it does feel good, and then go with that. And then you can kind of graduate over time. Like, so once you've exhausted an affirmation, you're like, okay, I'm ready to move on. Then you can kind of amp it up. So that's what the whole book is about. It's like, first, for example, you could say, I am willing to be healthier. And then you can say, I love being healthier. I enjoy being healthy. I am healthy. So you like go up a little scale.
I love it. That's fantastic. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a quick commercial for some of our sponsors, and then we'll end up with any final thoughts here today. First of all, if you haven't got the book, it's a great holiday present. Actually, I would get Kelsey's book and my book, the 162. The almost epic, what a pair that they would make. The almost epic journey of a Yankees super fan. People say, why was it almost epic? Well, you're going to have to read the book. But it's more than just about baseball. It's a book about life. My relationship with my dad in there is probably one of the things that people appreciated the most. And then a couple years after that, I had a brother that passed away. And this was sort of my tribute to him, but also a very therapeutic way for me to deal with the death of someone that was very close to me. And it's The Last 42. And for baseball fans out there, Jackie Robinson wore number 42, and then a Yankee superstar, Mariano Rivera, pictured here with me, wore number 42, but he was actually the last 42. So after my brother passed away, what I did is I attended his last 42 games. So this was like the main encore, or the main dish, and this is the encore, the dessert, if you will. But it just feels so good starting something and completing it. It's maybe one of the best affirmations that you can have, because you're affirming that the law of creation. Starting with something, and it's just fantastic. And then our sponsor, we always want to thank our sponsors for helping us put this show on. Legal Shield. We are empowering families because we are giving families equal access to the legal system and to the justice system that normally hasn't been available for all. 90 to 95% are priced out of the legal system. Most people can't afford to have a lawyer get their will done, or write a review a contract, or have a letter written on your behalf. So we are happy to announce that we've just went over 4 million members here with Legal Shield. Our goal is to get to 40 million by 2020. It's a big goal, but folks like me and many other independent Legal Shield associates out there sharing this good message every single day. So if you'd like to get hooked up with Legal Shield, either go to the person that lets you know about the podcast, or if you don't know anybody, come to me and we will get you all hooked up. Awesome.
I like these headphones, by the way. I'm feeling the abundance
of
the whole money thing.
Those are actually our producer Robert and his wife Elaine's idea. And
Good
if it's
idea.
okay, I would like to buy this book from you,
Yes.
and gift it to our producer Robert and his wife Elena for Christmas, because he was asking me to ask you if he could have a copy. So I'm going to go ahead and get that out. If you had to give advice to yourself at age 18, and for a lot of our listeners, they're way past the age of 18. You're like 18 and a half right now, it seems like. What advice would you, in other words, with the experiences that you've had since 18, what have you learned that if you could whisper in your ear at 18, what would you tell yourself?
I would say that in the end, everything is for your benefit, but you just probably don't see it yet. So just hang in there. It's not the end of the world. And one day you'll notice that this is like what's good for you. Cool.
And as far as, sometimes that's our last question, but I just feel like I got one or two in me still.
Yeah.
Is the affirmation process, we live in such a microwave society where we do that, we do A plus B, and we're C, and so you tell people just go with the flow. It'll come in its natural sense, and you even compare it to like the grooves of something. Maybe you could talk about that. It's like it's spaced repetition kind of.
So repeating affirmations is kind of like grooves in the wood. Like if you just scratch the surface one time, it's not going to make a big impact, but over time you can create like a beautiful pattern with all the times that you've really believed in yourself and used those affirmations.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Kelsey Aida Robbins. Awesome. I'm going to get that without reading it off my sheet someday. Well, this has been episode 29 of the 162 Experience, where our goal and our objective is to help our listeners live their dreams, to inspire people to be everything that they were made to be. Looking forward to 2017. If you could give anybody advice in closing out 2016 and having the best year of their life in 2017, Kelsey, we'll let you close out the show with any advice you have.
Yeah, I would say declare it. Let me tell you a quick little story. So last year for 2016, one of my resolutions was that I wanted to be like a winner, like to win random things, because I've like won competitions and stuff, but never like lucky, like just won money or whatever. So I was like, this year, 2016 is my year. I'm going to be a winner. And on January 1st, I was flying back from a job. I was actually performing on stilts in Vegas, and we were coming back. And so in Vegas, we had a layover, and I was playing on the machines, and I was like, this is my time, like to win. Let's see if it worked. And I won like $32, I think, on the machine on the first try, and I had never even like gambled in my life. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I just pushed a bunch of buttons, and I was like, ding, 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 you won. I was like, oh, time to cash my money. Looks like I'm a winner. And I told my friends, and they were like, so you just said that you're a winner and then you won? And I was like, yeah, pretty much. So I would say turn your New Year's resolutions into affirmations. Like believe them, say them, stand behind them. There's no reason why something that you want can't happen to you. I think a lot of people think that, because it's never happened in the past, it's not going to happen in the future. The past and the future are separate. The past doesn't matter anymore. So just go for it. And 2017 is going to be awesome. If you want it to be, it will be.
Kelsey, thanks for joining us today on the 162 Experience. We'll see you guys next week.